Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Carissa Brewster. I am the staff writer for Whitman Partners, and welcome to the 2023 BIPOC Perioperative Leaders to Know Recognition Awards interviews. Today we have Michelle Dempsey-Evans, and she is the Director of Perioperative Services at Howard University Hospital. Correct?
Correct.
Cool. Welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, that's such a good question. I actually got into perioperative services as a surgical tech in my very young years, in my 20s. And at that time, my only understanding of the OR was that we passed instruments to surgeons, and I just wanted to be able to be all up and in it. So I started off as a surgical tech and really got to see, the much better picture of how we provide care for our patients. And I just wanted to do so much more. So then that's when I went into nursing and earned my bachelor's. And then I went straight back into the OR as an RN. Definitely witnessed, definitely experienced, especially in the OR world. There's not many that look like us, and there's usually very few, and even more so as an RN, I was always the only nurse that was of color in my ORs. And so I always had to learn to work twice as hard and to make sure that I was competent in every specialty in both scrubbing and circulating so that I could be in there, because the expectations were very different for me than what they were of my counterparts. And that's basically how I handled it. I handled it by showing exactly who we are and exactly what we can do, and that we can do so much more. And became even more apparent during the Black Lives Matter social justice movement. I worked in an area where it was truly only me as a leader, with no surgical techs or even nurses that looked like me. And so then during that time, it just became even more apparent that the things that mattered to me did not matter to my team. And even though as a leader, I supported my team didn't necessarily support me in return, and what I was feeling and what we were going through during that time. So I'm just blessed where now I work in a facility where I not only work with peers who are people of color, and my team is very diverse, and I get to care for my patients in my community that is more like me. So I can now be an active part of making sure that we're providing the same level of care that they deserve, like everyone else in every community, every hospital. Embrace it. It's important to have a very diverse team so that we are able to very closely relate to the community that we serve. And it's important that we have that within it, because we all bring different strengths, we all bring different perspectives, so that we can reflect and relate to our patients and provide that safe level of care that they all deserve. A leadership that understands, for sure. And the reason why I say starting at leadership that understands is because we are the shifters, the change, and making change in the culture as it should be. And recognizing that there is great value in a DEI program to have that area that closely looks at making sure that we are able to relate to not only our patients, but our teams as well. Be confident in yourself. Be confident in the skills and the knowledge that you bring, and to stay resilient. You may be questioned by those who are around you, especially with your competencies, and you have to realize that even you deserve to be in this room, in this space. So make yourself accessible to learn and grow professionally and as an individual, and to definitely build that trust with your team, with your peers, and even with senior leadership. Oh, yes, especially with the community that we serve, we have to recognize that they all come with a different struggle, especially when preparing them for surgery and making sure that we have those processes in place where we can make sure that our patients are even understanding the surgery that they're having and how they can better prepare for it, as well as making sure that they understand how to take care of themselves when they go home to prevent any post-op complications. So it does really, it's important to have that in the forefront, a navigator, for example, to reach out to those patients prior to surgery to identify what their needs are and address them, close that gap so that they have decreased cancellations, they're able to get here in a timely manner, ready and prepared for their surgery, and then have that safe discharge home. So that navigator on the front end is very important. Transportation, that has been our biggest one when we do look at ours month to month, and we look at not just what is our percentage of on-time starts, but what are the reasons why, drilling down on what are the reasons why and how can we close that gap. And so we have found that a lot of it has been with our patients getting here on time, which then leads us to asking those questions why. And many times it is regarding either transportation or having someone to assist them in providing safe discharge, and then them having childcare, for example, just having that community support. And so understanding those things will help us better prepare our patients to come in on time so that we can then start our cases on time. Mm-hmm. That is definitely about OR efficiencies for sure. So having a room open, ready, prepared, and waiting for a patient to arrive and to get here, or making sure that they even have the labs drawn as they should, or NPO, because they decided to have their breakfast or their drinking. So closing those gaps with making sure that we start on time and preventing cancellations, that we have, that can definitely affect your value when you have that room open. So now you're having those waste of supplies. So decreasing those two things has really helped out. And working in partnership, partnering with our physicians, but not just with the physician, but with their offices as well, so that we could make sure that our cases are scheduled appropriately in the correct duration, for example, so that we can continue to run our ORs more efficiently. That being able to do that helps us increase the number of cases that we do. And by increasing the number of cases that we do, decreasing the supply wastage, managing our supply wastage, and our teams being on the clock much longer than they have to because we've had these inefficiencies in the OR. Being able to close those things helps with the revenue.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, Michelle. It was a great pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you as well.